Welcome to our custom.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK, and it's Froggy Friday, so I'm excited for this one. I'm even using a new frog mold, so thank you to Girl in the Garage, thank you to everybody that's part of Froggy Fridays. This is going to be a fun one, hopefully. So I've got these glass eyes for this one. I just thought it'd be a little bit quicker than making your own frog eyes, but if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it, and it is so simple to do. So the first thing I'm trying to do here is just pick out two eyes that match, and as you can see, you get loads of different ones in these glass eye packs. Got this from Temu. They don't cost an awful lot of money, and they're just a little bit quicker than making your own. So I'm just going to find a pair that I like. And yes, you've got voiceover, Andy, in this video, because for some reason the audio decided not to record. So if you've never recorded a YouTube video, something goes wrong somewhere on almost every video. But we continue. And that reminds me, if it's your first time to the channel, or if you're a regular viewer that hasn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put the QR code up in the corner as well, so if you're watching on your TVs at home, all you need to do is point your camera at the QR code and it takes you straight through to the option to subscribe. So just do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. It's the only way that we grow. So I found these two eyes and I was quite happy with these. So I think these are the two for me that are going to go into this frog. And if you haven't got involved in Froggy Friday, make sure you do. It's just a bit of fun. All you need is a frog mold or anything frog related. Go back, watch all of the videos from all of the artists, because there is some amazing frog art out there. Now with these eyes, I'm just going to draw a line so I know exactly where the pupil is really, or that reptile part, so that I can get it the right way round when I put it in the frog mold. And all I'm doing, using a pen, drawing a line on so that I know which way round they go, so that we can put it in this mold. And the first thing you're going to need is some UV resin after this to actually get the frog eyes in. And you can just see that line, so that way I know that both eyes will be going in the same direction when they go in the frog. So you'll see there's a little eye cavity actually in the mold. So all I'm going to do is put a drop of this Apex UV resin in there, and then we're going to cure the eye in. Pretty straightforward. One drop of resin is all it takes, he says. So there's the resin in. Now I'm going to grab the eye and get it the way round that I want. And the important thing here is to make sure that I do the same, get the eye in the same direction on the other side as well. Otherwise we'll have a wonky-eyed frog. But hopefully this one's going to be quite special as well, because I want him to have a little bit of bling appeal. So I've got that first eye in. Now I'm just going to fiddle around with it with the end of a paintbrush to get it in the right direction. And I'm happy with that. You can just see there, I've got the slit of the eye pointing vertically, which is what I wanted for this particular frog. And it doesn't really matter which way around they are, as long as they both match. As long as they both match, it doesn't make it look like it's got wonky eyes. So that's the first one in. Now I'm just going to cure it. 10-20 seconds on each side is all it takes. And I'm just using, I've got the UV torch, and it's more than powerful enough to go through this mold and cure the eye in place. Then we're just going to repeat the process on the other eye, so that hopefully we'll get two matching eyes. And you can just see through the mold which way around the slit is, which is quite useful when you're doing this, because you can have a look at both eyes and make sure that they're roughly in the right direction. Now, I did realise that actually I'd placed the eye in a little bit high, not fully in that cavity, but these moulds can be quite forgiving as long as you do the same with the other eye. There we go. So the other eye, it's got the UV resin in there, just making sure they're both pointing in exactly the same direction, and then we're going to cure it. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, guys, we had Michelle on from Glitz and Glitter on the live, and it was an amazing live. So go back through the live Q&A playlist and watch that if you haven't had a chance. Gives you a great opportunity to meet not only Michelle, but also her husband, Don. And don't forget, if you have a YouTube channel that's resin related and you want to come on that YouTube live on a Tuesday, let me know. Messages are open, or drop me an email, whatever's easier. I just think it's a great way to get to know all of the creators behind the videos, and we're having some real fun doing it. And yeah, it's a great way to get to know the resin community as a whole. Here we go then. So we're just curing this second eye. And then for the pouring part, it's going to be quite simple. But before I do that, don't forget I said I wanted a bit of bling. And there you can see the eyes are roughly in the right direction. So now for the bling. And I thought about what can I do that's a little bit different that I haven't done before with this frog. And I've mixed up 4 ounces of resin, ready to pour. And then I've got these little, I suppose almost fake Swarovski crystals, I suppose you'd call them. And I decided they'd be quite cool as the toes of this frog. So I'm going to try and put in one of these crystals for each toe. So the first thing to do is just put a drop of UV resin in each toe. Pretty straightforward. You don't need a lot. It's the same as the eyes, and it's just to get something to secure that crystal too. So here we go. And don't forget, on these frog molds, the front ones have got 4 toes, but the back feet have got all 5 toes. So just make sure you get them all in. So I'm just going to show you this first one, and then we're going to speed through the process so that this isn't a 2-hour video. Although some of you have said that you prefer the longer videos. So again, let me know if that's the case in comments. But again, these are so difficult to just pick up with your gloves. That's why you get this wax crayon usually with a set of them. And it just makes it a little bit easier to pick them up. And you want them all facing in the same direction. So there we go. I'm just putting the rest of these in. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just turning them round because they're easier to pick up with the pencil when they're on the back rather than on the front. And there you go, you can see those crystals just in the toes, and now I'm going to cure them and then speed through the rest of this process, and then we're going to get to pouring the resin.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. A party visions come to life. It's a perfect sight. We born together, blooming free, resin family. Testing my God's new creations. We set them free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms. We carve with grace. Welcome to custom carving, where dreams come true.
And there we go, they're nicely cured. So for the colours, I'm going to go for this metallic blue, some copper, And then in the black, I'm going to put some of these sort of crystally aurora flakes in there, just to keep it interesting. So I'm just going to split the resin. And I'm just going to do these 2 pots for the colours. So the first one is going to be the metallic blue, and the other one's going to be copper. And then I can mix the black in the cup, in the cup itself. And I absolutely love this copper. It's a really, really nice, bright, vibrant, metallic colour. So I'm just going to put a couple of scoops of the copper into the first pot of resin. Hopefully without getting it everywhere. So I'm just going to do a couple of level scoops, and that should be enough for the copper. And whenever you use a metallic, you don't want to use too much of it, because it can overtake your piece. So I think that'll be enough for the copper. And next, I'm going to use this metallic blue. And again, I'm just stirring it around in the pot, with it being a pigment paste, and whatever's left on the stick should be more than enough to give us that beautiful colour. And then for the third colour, I'm just going to use some black resin dye. And it doesn't take a lot of this stuff, but I think it should also make the metallics really pop. So I'm just going to put a drop of this in here, or a little squirt. And because that's not blingy enough, I'm going to add some of these, I think they're Aurora flakes, and I've got 2 different types. I'm just going to add not too many, but a scoop of each, I think, in this, to see what effect that's going to have on the black. And you can see they're going to purpley colour, that one. And then these ones, I believe, are slightly golden. So we're going to have the 2 different colours of these Aurora flakes in this frog as well. So whatever happens, he should have a bit of sparkle to him. So here we go, mixing that blue together, and it creates a gorgeous metallic blue, this pigment paste. It's one of my favourite blues at the minute, and I'm using it in a lot of projects. But look at that. Stunning colour. So that is the blue. This is the copper, and again, this is a stunning colour, and it really goes well with this blue. I've used the 2 colours before on a canvas, and they really made it, complemented each other and popped. So that is my copper, and then the last colour is going to be this black with Aurora flakes. And then pretty much the plan is here for the first part of this pour is just to puddle pour these in and see what happens. And there we go. We've got a lovely black just with those little colourful flakes still showing through. And again, there's no particular plan to this. This was just me having a bit of fun. And sometimes you get your best pieces by doing that. And I'm hoping to do the same this time. And that's the key thing with your resin art. Just have fun. So here we go. I'm going to go in with a bit of the blue. And then straight in with a bit of the copper. And just keep puddle pouring these pretty much until it's full. So I wanted to use all of the copper and the blue first before I go in with the black, and then hopefully that way the copper and the blue will stand out on the surface, and then the black will just give it a real rich sort of darkness to it. Because I wanted this to be quite a dark frog, even though he's going to have all of this bling. And as you can see, I'm loving that puddle pour design already. We're almost getting different sort of rings of colour. And if you can hear snoring in the background, I apologise. Reggie is having a little snooze whilst I'm doing this voiceover. And just in case you didn't know as well, memberships are now open to the channel. And as part of memberships, if you are a member, we do a prize draw every month. Every member is automatically entered to win a piece of my art shipped to wherever you are in the world. So if you can afford it and you want to support the channel, all you need to do is go to the channel homepage and click join membership. It's that simple, and it's a great way to support the channel for probably the cost of a coffee. And we will be doing the prize draw this weekend. So it's your last chance to get in and win a piece of my art for this month. And we do it every month on the channel. And now back to the project. So what we're doing here is we're just using the rest of this copper and blue to go into the feet so that it hopefully gives them a bit of colour as well, and they don't just come out black. And as I said, never done this before with these particular colours, and I've never tried pouring the colours in first and then the black straight on top without curing, so it's going to be interesting to see what it turns out like. And this is only stage one of the process. There is going to be a couple of stages to this just to make him extra blingy. And again, it's a great way of just using up these colours before we fill it with the black. But again, shout out to Girl in the Garage, shout out to Karen from the Dragon's Cave, shout out to Lula, shout out to Tim, shout out to everybody that gets involved in Froggy Fridays. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on the playlist, watch all of the Froggy Friday videos, and you'll see some absolutely amazing art from resin artists across the world. It is global Froggy Friday, so go back, watch those, give them all a thumbs up, give them all a like, put something in comments, and support these resin artists. And I'm loving this design already, and all this is those two colours being poured in. And the whole idea behind this is hopefully to keep these colours on the surface, and then the black will give it almost a rich darkness with a bit of sparkle. So whether it works or not is another matter, but that was the thinking behind the process. And the great thing is when you pour into these legs, they naturally go into the centre of the frog as well and create a cool design of their own. Now the key is as well with the black, I'm going to have to pour it quite carefully because I don't want it to overtake the piece. I want these colours to be visible. But I also didn't want to leave this to cure before pouring the black. So I think it's just going to be a case of carefully pouring it in. And I'm just going to use up the rest of this copper. I'm going to fast forward it until we get to the black. In fact, there's no point. We're almost at the end. So that is the last bit of the copper. And now for the last drop of the blue. You don't want to waste any of your resin, so just pour it all in. These frog molds take 4 ounces. As long as you've mixed up 4 ounces, you should know that it's going to fill that mold. And there we go. That is now the blue and the copper. Now it's time for the black. But as I said, I want to be really careful to not lose all of these colours. So I'm going to be quite gentle about how I pour this in. And I'm just going to, as I say, try and pour it in quite slowly, quite steadily. And we'll see what happens. But that's why I'm not just pouring it in at speed, because I think if I do it gently, I'm going to keep the copper and the blue micas on the surface of this mold, and then the black is just going to fill up the rest, hopefully, is the thinking behind it. But we'll see if it works. But I'm loving this black as well, just with those Aurora flakes. Again, it gives it a different kind of galaxy look to what adding the glitter does. So I really, really, really like this effect. And we're nearly full. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just having a look around, and now I'm going to fill up the feet. Like so. And I'm amazed at how well this is pouring so far. It's looking amazing with those colours. So hopefully we're going to get a pretty special frog. So here we go, guys. It's the next day. It's also my birthday. But I can't wait to demold this frog and hopefully get him finished if we can. So again, just pull these bits aside and we're going to demold and see what effect, if any, we've got. And here he goes. Feels very smooth and shiny. I forgot what it's like to demold a frog from a brand new mold. All mine are pretty well used now. And out he comes. Wow. Look at that. That is so cool. And again, even though those eyes were a little bit higher up, I think it's come out really well. Again, just those little bit of bling in the toes. But I didn't want to stop there with the bling. So I'm going to finish him off now. And this is something that actually I've got a few tips from Lula from Nerd Goblin Art. And she's made me go out and buy these crowns and things because I think Mr. Bling just needs a bit more bling, to be honest. So I'm just going to get one of these crowns out. And then we're going to UV resin them on. And I think I'm going to go silver. So he's going to have a little silver crown. Hopefully, if I can get it out of the bag. I think silver would look the best on him. But before I put that on, I just want to add a little bit more bling. Which I never thought you would hear those words come out of my mouth. So I am going to use just some UV resin. And I've got a few more of these little crystals at the side. So I'm just going to, hopefully, I'm going to put a tiny dab of UV resin just on the center here. Helps if you take the lid off, guys. So again, I just want a tiny bit just on that center, like so. And then I'm going to just use these little diamantes just to add a bit more bling to this frog. And the problem is, actually, I need to do these the opposite way around now. So let's see if I can still pick them up with this, which I can, so that's good. So I'm going to do one in the centre. And then I'm just going to take my time and put a few round that centre. As I say, just to add a little tiny bit more bling to this frog. And hopefully we'll get a pretty cool effect. There we go. I don't think I can, maybe I can squeeze one more in. There we go. So again, that's just a tiny bit more bling added. And then I'm going to add a little tiny bit more bling, I think, just in between his eyes here. And then I am going to add the crown around there as well. But not too much. I think just a little bit to add a tiny bit more bling. And again, do whatever design you want. You know, if you wanted, you could cover the whole frog in these. I'm not going to, because then we'd be here all night. But I just wanted a tiny bit more sparkle on this frog. There we go. And hopefully they will just stay in there like so. And then I'm just going to get the UV torch and cure them. And now for his little crown. I think I want that just sort of touching the tops of those little diamonds. So again, just putting a little bit of UV around that edge. Not too much, but enough to hopefully just cure it in about halfway, like that. And then just to finish him off, I've also got some little flowers and some butterflies. So again, I'm going to put maybe a little flower here. And I think one on this back leg as well is the plan. So again, just adding a tiny bit to the base of this. So there's going to be one drop just on there. And then one drop on this one here as well. And I'm going to cure those onto the frog. And then hopefully I've got a couple of these diamantes left just to put in the center of those to make sort of the center of a flower, which I have. Again, I've got thousands in the packet, so here we go. Little tiny drop in the center. And in this one as well. And then just want to get one of these in the centre of there, just to cover up that hole. He says 1 and 2, and then cure. They actually come up really cool under the UV light, which I didn't know. So that could be an interesting project in the future. So there those, and as you can see, it's fully cured. And then I'm just going to add a little butterfly somewhere near the centre of his back. I don't want to go overboard, but I think that'll just finish him off nicely if I get one of these little sparkly butterflies. But I'm going to have them on the corner of his leg just there. So again, just going to put a tiny drop on there. And then for this, I think I'm going to need my tweezers or something just to hold it. In fact, no, I should be okay. Just going to try and balance it on there whilst curing. And there we go. I think he's quite blingy. I like him. I might just do one more butterfly, I think, on the other leg. In fact, I think that could be too much. No, I'm going to, actually. I think it'd look cool to have one just coming off his other foot. And then I think that'll just finish him off nicely. So again, I'm just going to put a drop of the UV already onto where I've already put that flower. And this butterfly can actually be sitting, hopefully, in the flower. And then I'm just going to cure. And then I'm just going to go over all of these bits again, making sure everything's cured. And that should be it, guys. So here we have a very blingy frog. Let me know what you think in comments. Do you like him? Have I gone too far with the bling? What do you think? I actually think it's about the right amount. I don't think it needs any more. But I just love the way he looks now. Just by adding those few extra bits. I'm going to get you some close-up shots as well. But let me know what you think. And don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Welcome to our custom space, where dreams take flight. A party visions coming to life. It's a perfect sight. We born together, blooming three, resin family. Testing my God's new creations, we set them free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms, we carve with grace. Welcome to Custom Party.